This is my safest bet on this weekend's UFC card. Welcome to Lucrative Hammer of the Week. This weekend we have UFC Noche. Gene Silva is taking on Diego Lopez. And I'm going to tell you the very best, my number one betting spot of the entire weekend on the entire card. If you don't know me, my name is James Blissett, professional sports bettor. So I'm qualified to talk about this and I cannot wait to give you the best bet. But first, before we do that, please like and subscribe. I check my YouTube analytics and I can see that 50% of my viewers do not subscribe to the channel. Instead, they just watch the video. So let's try and bump that down to 10-20%. So please go and click the subscribe button right now, but we'll get into the hammer of the week. So this is looking like a pretty solid card, boys. UFC Noche is always pretty solid, and I cannot wait for our hammer bet to land. What a hammer bet is basically my most confident play, or one of my most confident plays on the upcoming UFC card this weekend. After I tell you the hammer play, I'm going to tell you some props that we can ladder the hammer play with. So the way it works is I give you the hammer play, right? And that's like our main play. But then there may be some plays that we can bet surrounding the hammer play, right? So if the hammer play is a money line, for example, maybe we take the fighter by money line, but then we also take the fighter to win inside the distance or via KO or in round one or something like that. So make sure you stick around for the entire video because I'll be giving you some ladder plays as well as the main hammer. So before we get into the main hammer of the week play, I want you to go and join my free Telegram community. The reason is because I'm doing giveaways right now. I gave away $100 out over the last couple of weeks completely for free just for people in my Telegram channel. I also give out betting picks and predictions and it's completely free to join. So hit the link in the bio. You'll see a link to the free Telegram and you can join it and you'll have cash giveaways, betting predictions, picks, etc., etc. But let's not waste no more time. Let's get into the hammer of the week for this week. So the hammer of the week this week is in the fight between Jared Gordon and Rafa Garcia. Two veterans of the UFC at this point are, in my opinion, going to go to war. Or at least semi-war. Most Rafa Garcia fights are pretty exciting. Most Jared Gordon fights are pretty exciting. Jared Gordon at the moment is on an absolute run in the division. In my opinion, the guy's on a 5-fight win streak and he's actually only got 2 official wins in his last 5 fights. But in my opinion, that's 5 wins, man. His last fight was a legitimate win, obviously. He knocked out Thiago Moises in round 1, by the way. But his fight before that was with Nasrat Haqparast. That was a blood and guts war. A 15-minute war, and I thought he won that fight. Unfortunately, he lost via split decision, and we bet on him at massive odds. Me and everyone in my VIP. So that was very annoying that he lost. But in my eyes, it was a win. The fight before that, he knocked out Mark Madsen in round 1 again. Legitimate win. The fight before that was against Bobby Green. And, maybe that shouldn't have been a win. Maybe I'm exaggerating. But he was piecing up Bobby Green before the illegitimate headbutt KO. Bobby Green headbutted him, knocked him out with the headbutt, basically. And the fight was ruled a no contest. The fight before that was with Paddy Pimblett. In another fight, I thought he won, but he wasn't awarded the win with the judges. They scored it to Paddy Pimblett. Another bad decision, another robbery, and another fight that Jared Gordon should have won. So this guy is on an absolute run, on a heater in the lightweight division. And although he's 37 years old, the guy looks like he's in his prime. It's really unbelievable. I mean, who do you know in a lightweight division that is potentially coming into their prime at 37 years old? Like, I genuinely believe 5 years ago, Jared Gordon wasn't as good as he is today. Or at least he's the same level. At least his prime has been that long. His prime has been 5 years. It's up for debate, but it's what I genuinely believe. He seemed to has not lost a step in the UFC. Rafa Garcia, on the other hand, has been a little bit up and down in the UFC. He beat Vince Pichel last time out. The fight before that, he got dominated by Grant Dawson. To be honest, even in his last fight against Vince Pichel was 40 years of age going into that fight, right? So 3 years older than his opponent this weekend, Jared Gordon. And I'm not going to lie, man, in that Vince Pichel fight, I don't think Rafa Garcia looked good. Rafa Garcia lost the second round in my book, and the third round was kind of close at points, So the entire 15-minute fight, even though he won 30-27 on 2 judges' scorecards, was way too close for comfort in my eyes. And Vince Pichel, maybe he didn't have an argument to win it, but he had an argument that fight was basically a 50-50 fight. It was an extremely close fight that a couple of sequences won it for Rafa Garcia. And if Vince Pichel got going a little bit earlier in round 1, he probably would have, or he could have maybe won the fight. I guess maybe not because the judges scored it 30-27, but 29-28 on my scorecard, and I think most people who watch that would score it that as well. So like I said, boys, I'm going to give you the hammer of the week, and then after, we're going to look at some props, right? And we're going to look at if we can stack onto our hammer of the week play. But I'm going to go with a money line in this fight. And it's going to be Jared Gordon at minus 220 odds for this week's Lucrative Hammer of the Week. Like I said in my breakdown, Jared Gordon just a little bit too hot right now for Rafa Garcia. He's on a little bit too good of a run. He has too much momentum behind him. Even the 6 years the elder man at 37 years old. He's got too much skills for Rafa Garcia. He's got a big cardio advantage. He's got a wrestling advantage, probably. He's definitely got a jiu-jitsu advantage. He has a pace and volume advantage. And he does lose the durability war here, but I don't think Rafa Garcia has really enough power to put him out. And I'll tell you one thing, Jared Gordon has been displaying more power than he ever has done in his last couple of fights. The Mark Madsen fight was a knockout, a bad knockout in round one. And the same thing with Thiago Moises, that was a knockout in round one. And we hadn't really seen Jared Gordon do that too much. So maybe he's hitting a little bit harder these days. And I just feel like the veteran savvy of Jared Gordon. He's a UFC veteran at this point. So is Rafa Garcia, but not as much as Jared. And Jared has been in there with the best of them. And the level of competition, experience edge will show itself in this fight. And I do think Rafa will make him competitive at times, probably early. But I think Jared Gordon gets going over the 15-minute fight. And, he starts to wear out Rafa Garcia. He cleanly takes the third round. He starts to take down and end up in top position. And just basically grit out those positions, grit out the fight in general, the clinch, the striking, the takedown. And I think he's going to win himself this fight by just being too motivated, too determined, too much of a will to win along with the skill set and experience edge. So Jared Gordon minus 220 is this week's Hammer of the Week. Now we're going to go look at some props right now to see if we can be a little bit more degenerate, right? We got our Hammer of the Week play, but let's see if we can get any props. But first of all, I want you to go down in the comment section below and comment your own Hammer of the Week, as well as the exact round and method of victory. And whoever gets the best one, or whoever gets the closest, or whoever gets it right, I'm going to shout you out in the next video. So comment down below your Hammer of the Week and I'll look through them next week. And boys, this is the first time I've ever made a Hammer of the Week video. The first time I'm doing a video like this. So let me know in the comments below if you want me to continue this, if you want me to make it an ongoing series that I do every single week, where I come here and I give you the best bet or the most confident play of the week. Because if so, if it's a popular series, I will continue to do it. I'm just testing things out at the moment though. So yeah, let's look at some props, guys. So lads, the way I like to do things is first think what the most likely outcome is, right? So we have our hammer as Jared Gordon. What's the most likely outcome? Is he going to win via knockout, submission, or decision? And then what we'll do is we'll look at the odds and we'll see if the odds give us anything, juicy, because sometimes I will actually bet against my own prediction. For example, if I'm predicting Jared Gordon to win, via decision, but they're giving me a bad line, not good odds for decision. But Jared Gordon to win via KO is plus 1,000. I'm going to always take the KO, right? If they give me plus 1,000,000 on Jared Gordon KO, everybody on the planet would take Jared Gordon via KO, even if they're not thinking he will get the KO, because the odds are too good to pass up. So let's have a little look now. All right, so currently they got Jared Gordon via decision at minus 125, which isn't that juicy. I mean, we're getting his money line for minus 220, and then they want to give us decision for minus 120, basically, right? So it's $1 difference, but it's not that big in the grand scheme of things. I mean, Jared Gordon does have 2 finishes in his last 2 wins, so we have to respect that a little bit. Jared Gordon to win inside the distance is plus 400. See, that's getting a little bit juicy now, that's talking to me a little bit. Jared Gordon KO is plus 600. That's a huge one. Jared Gordon submission 11-1. Jared Gordon, not much of a submission guy though. I'm just going through his UFC record now. He actually has 0 submissions in his UFC career. So yeah, maybe we won't be betting on the submission. He has some submissions on his record, but actually they have come before he was in the UFC, when he was fighting in CFFC. And to be honest, when I'm thinking about it, boys, it's like, in my opinion, Jared Gordon's most likely path to victory is a decision. So I feel like, if he does finish him, it's probably going to be later. It's probably going to be from breaking him down. I don't know if I'm going to bet on it, but I could see some form of late finish occurring here, although unlikely. And one thing I do want to say, boys, is that Jared Gordon is going to be a play for me this week, but it's not my only play, right? I'm going to have loads of plays on this card. So if this bet loses, I don't give an F, because I'll have 10 other plays that might all win. right? So boys, if you want all of my plays, which is the only real way to bet, you can't just pick and choose, right? If you want all of my plays, you have to join my private community. Last week we smashed it, plus 15 units over Dana White's Contender Series and UFC Paris. We bet on Robert Brightcheck over Brad Tavares as an underdog. We bet on Ante Delia, round 1 KO. We bet on the over 4.5 rounds in the Kai Bahayo versus Nasadina Marvel fight. Like, we completely crushed it, boys. We're up over 120 units in 2025, and the difference between me and a lot of these predictors and YouTubers out there is that I'm an actual professional sports bettor, meaning that my entire income at multiple times in my life has only been from sports betting, right? Not from predicting or YouTube channel or having a VIP service or anything like that. The only reason I created a VIP service is to help people make money, to make more money, to be able to scale it, and because these bookies ban me because I've won hundreds of thousands of dollars off them multiple times over. If you want to sign up with me, the link is in the bio. Extremely cheap for everything that you get in there, like long shot props and parlays. But back to the hammer of the week, we got Jared Gordon here, and like I said, if a finish is going to come, or if a finish is going to occur, it's probably going to be late. So I wouldn't mind a Jared Gordon to win in round 3 or decision play, something like that. But to be honest, boys, looking at the props, there's nothing that's standing out massively. Jared Gordon in round 3, you know, at 14, 16 to 1 odds, it is not the worst, but I feel like Jared Gordon money line is the only way I want to play this one. I don't want to risk it with a decision, and I don't want to risk it with an inside the distance play. If you're a degenerate, I'd say add Jared Gordon round 3. But outside of that, we're just going to stick with the hammer of the week. So just to make sure you know, Jared Gordon at minus 220 odds is this week's lucrative hammer of the week. Good luck to us, and I'll see you in the next one.